This conference
Awesome.
will now be recorded.
Awesome. All right, everybody, we're back in business. Thank you for your patience. We already talked a little bit about the process for the meeting tonight for our virtual meeting. So I'll go ahead and get things started. Welcome everybody to the September 16th meeting of the South Whitehall Township Board of Commissioners. Prior to doing our Pledge of Allegiance, Renee, could I just ask that you do a roll call vote, or not vote, just a roll call to let us know who's here this evening from the commissioners?
Yes. Commissioner Walk,
Here.
Commissioner Mobilio,
Here.
Commissioner Seton,
Here.
Commissioner Kelly,
Here.
Commissioner Morgan.
Here. Thank you, everybody. If everybody would please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
For which it
stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. I'd like to note that all public sessions of the South Whitehall Township Board of Commissioners are electronically recorded, filed, and posted on board docs for the public's access. With that being said, we're going to move right into our agenda for this evening. And first on our agenda for consideration tonight, we have our meeting minutes from September 2nd, 2020. So I'll give the board a minute or two to, if they haven't already, to look through that information. It appears on the September 2nd meeting, all of our commissioners were present. Were there any questions or comments from the board on the September 2nd board meeting minutes? Hearing none, do I hear a motion for approval?
Make the motion.
We have a motion on the floor from Commissioner Seton. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second from Commissioner Mobilio. Can I have a roll call vote, please, Renee?
Commissioner Walk,
Aye.
Commissioner Mobilio,
Aye.
Commissioner Seton,
Aye.
Commissioner Kelly,
Aye.
and Commissioner Morgan.
Aye. Motion carries. Minutes pass. Thank you, everybody. All right, moving right along. Under presentations, we have nothing. Ordinances, nothing this evening. However, we do have a few resolutions for consideration and possible action. The first is a resolution extending the conditional preliminary final approval granted to a major plan entitled 4741 Chapman Road Warehouse Facility 2019. Mr. Kinney, would you like to report out on this one, please?
I would be pleased. Good evening, commissioners. This is a request from the Chapman's Road Warehouse at 4741 Chapman's Road to extend their time frame for completing conditions pursuant to their land development approval that the Board of Commission approved last year, specifically on October 16th of last year under Resolution 2019-47. The BOC approved that resolution granting preliminary and final plan approval subject to 21 conditions. Approval resolution condition number 21 permitted 12 months. That would be until October 16th of this year to satisfy those conditions. I believe the applicant is present. They have submitted a letter with their extension request. It is requesting a 1-year extension. The request was not, the letter specifically was not specific to which conditions remain outstanding. And I would just point out that typically the board, in a case where somebody's asking for a year extension or more, sometimes does request a timetable or periodic updates from the developer. So with that, I would give way to the floor to see if the developer is here to present their extension request to the board.
Good evening. This is Kevin Horvath with Keystone Consulting Engineers. Can everyone hear me?
Hi, Kevin.
Yes.
We can hear you fine, Kevin. Thank you.
Hi. I'm happy to provide an update on the progress of the plan or the project. At this point, we have obtained our Npds permit. You may or may not recall that the project was subject to a lot of outside agency approvals, including PennDOT, DEP for a joint permit for wetland encroachment, a Norfolk Southern rail line crossing, to mention a few, a turnpike easement agreement for site distance. So we have made significant progress on a lot of these items. As I said, we've obtained our Npds permit. I feel that we're coming down the home stretch on the joint permit as well as the PennDOT permitting. We've obtained agreements from both Norfolk Southern and the Turnpike as needed for the rail line crossing and the clearing of site obstructions, respectively. We are in the process of getting our Act 537 approvals together. In fact, I was hoping we would have a recommendation for a resolution for approval tonight. However, we'll see you at your October 6th or 7th meeting, I hope, with an approval resolution for our sewage module. So we have made progress. We've recently had conversations with the Township solicitor in an effort to finalize the agreements relative to a riparian forest buffer on Township lands. We're prepared to submit the improvements cost estimate for the developers agreement shortly. A couple of offers of dedication for both a right-of-way for Chapman's Road as well as a utility easement for access to the proposed meter pit. So lots of loose ends, and we're kind of tying them up, and we're hopeful that within a couple of months we'll be able to wrap most of these up. We simply requested a year extension just to avoid any possibility that we'd have to come back here and do this again. We certainly don't expect it's going to take that long to clear up the remaining items. So if you have any questions or if I didn't touch on anything you're interested in hearing about, please feel free to ask.
Kevin, thank you. Thank you very much. So I'll just throw this out to Jennifer and to Tony from legal and engineering. Did you have any additional comments, thoughts? Yes.
Chapman's Road, Lisa from Rockall and DeVito is representing.
Hello,
Excellent.
I'm here.
Okay. Hi, Lisa. Thank you. All right. I take that back, Jennifer. So I'm going to move the question over to Lisa. So Lisa and Tony, any input, thoughts regarding some of the comments from Kevin?
I have personally been in touch with Greg Davis, the applicant's attorney, and we have discussed these items. So everything that Kevin has represented is accurate, and they are steadfastly working towards, tying these loose ends. So I don't have any objections to the request for the extension.
And this is Tony, and that's mostly what I was going to say too. Where Kevin represented, he is with the plan. It's correct. We have a few minor things that we're trying to wrap up for them, and hopefully they're definitely feel like they're closer than the year.
Excellent. So, as George had mentioned, Kevin, in other situations when certain projects ask for an extension up to a year, we ask for a timeline and updates, and you gave a great update this evening. Will you then be able to prepare some updates and provide a timeline as you progress towards that year extension, or are we looking that you probably won't even need the full year? I'll kind of defer to you and George on that one.
Okay, George, if you want to go ahead first.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with Lisa and Tony. I think they have literally moved as quickly as I think they possibly can, given the regulating agencies that they're working with. So I feel that they'll have this wrapped up probably within 6 months, but the year does seem appropriate just to to be sure that they have everything tightened up.
And I don't disagree with that. I'm hopeful we won't be back for an update other than to say we're ready to get started.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you. All right, I'll open it up for any questions or comments from the board prior to opening it up for the public.
I just had one question. Would it make sense to have a 6-month check so that we can see where they are at that point, just to keep things moving for us and keep it fresh for us?
I think what they're referring to, Diane, was that they anticipate to be done within 6 months. If I would imagine if they aren't, then we would definitely get that check. But that was what I just had referenced. If we needed a timeline or a check, but they indicated they probably won't even need the full year. They'll probably be done within the 6 months. So that 6-month check probably won't even be necessary. But I'm sure they'll keep us posted if we need it.
Okay.
Fair enough. Is that a safe statement, George and Kevin?
Yes, I mean, if you want to include it in the resolution that we'll come back for a 6-month check-in, if applicable, we'll certainly do that.
Okay. I would definitely be amenable to that if it would apply, if you would be going beyond that 6 months for sure.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments from the board? All right, I'll open it up to the public. Is there any questions from the public? And if you can't use your audio, you can certainly use the chat at this point. All right. So that being said, we're looking for a motion this evening with an addition into that to include a 6-month check back should you need that and you go beyond that 6 months with completion. So a resolution extending the conditional preliminary final approval granted to a major subdivision plan entitled 4741 Chapman's Road Warehouse Facility 2019. Do I hear said motion?
So moved.
We have a motion on the floor from Commissioner Kelly. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second from Commissioner Walk. Can I have a roll call vote, please, Renee?
Commissioner Walk,
Aye.
Commissioner Mobilio, Commissioner Mobilio,
Who is here? Come back to him, Renee.
okay. Commissioner Seton,
Aye.
Commissioner Mobilio,
Matt, can you hear us? I see him.
I don't think he's got audio.
Can you give us a thumbs up, Matt, if it's a yes or a no? Oh,
Yep.
okay, great.
Now I lost track of who, Commissioner Kelly
Aye.
and Commissioner Morgan.
Aye, motion carries. Thank you. Thanks, Kevin. Thanks, Lisa.
Thank you.
All right.
Right.
Next this evening for consideration and possible action, we have a resolution extending the conditional preliminary final approval granted to a minor plan entitled Blue Barn Estate. George.
Yes, thank you, commissioners. This is a similar request to the last one. It is a request for extension for the property at 1530 Blue Barn Road. The Board of Commissioners last October approved Resolution 2019-50, granting preliminary and final plan approval subject to 15 conditions. Approval resolution condition number 15, again, permitted 12 months to satisfy these conditions. That would lend it up to October 2nd of this year. And I know with this one, the applicant has been working also towards final plan approval. And in fact, most of the majority of the approval conditions actually have been pretty much satisfied. This 3-month extension request that they're asking for here appears reasonable to complete the remaining development and financial agreements. But I will again give way to the applicant if he's here. I don't know if Dave Pasacco's in the room or somebody representing.
Yes, I am here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hi, Dave.
Yeah, we're basically just about there. We're just really cleaning up a couple of loose ends, and we're almost going to make it. But Greg Adams suggested we go for this extension just in case. So I don't anticipate needing very many of those 90 days, but it's good to have them just in case.
Very good. Thanks, Dave. Jennifer or Tony, anything you want to add to this?
Sure, I'll add, Tori, that we had a good conference call with Mr. Pasacco and his counsel and engineer last week, and I would agree with everything that he said, that they've made significant progress and there is very little to be done. And he's right that they might actually meet the pre-existing deadline, but just given the way things are working right now with the recording process and things like that, to be on the safe side, I think the extension is warranted in this case. And I will add that we do have the final form of the developers agreements agreed upon. They just have not been executed yet. We were waiting to hear from the bank about security. So very few items remain, in my opinion.
Thanks, Jennifer.
And Tori, this is Tony. I don't believe there's really any engineering issues left. We've worked with the engineer in the past, and I think the plans are pretty much cleaned up. So we have no objection.
Excellent. All right. George, anything else from you or any other staff?
No, nope. I think we're comfortable with the extension as well.
All right. Any questions or comments from the board? All right. Any questions or comments from the public? All right. That being said, do I hear a motion to move forward with the resolution extending the conditional preliminary final approval to the minor plan entitled Blue Barn Estates?
So moved.
Make a motion.
We had a motion from Commissioner Kelly. I think, can you want to do the second there, Commissioner Walk?
Yes, please.
All right. Second from Commissioner Walk. Can I have a roll call vote, please, Renee?
Commissioner Walk,
Aye.
Commissioner Mobilio,
Aye.
Commissioner Kelly,
Aye.
Commissioner Seton,
Aye.
and Commissioner Morgan.
Aye. Motion carries. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Dave.
Thank you.
All right. You got it. All right. Next on our agenda, we have a variety of motions for consideration and possible action this evening. The first is a motion requesting permission to award bid for the Whitehall and Huckleberry Water Station fencing project. Mr. Bender, are you with us this evening?
Tori,
Yes.
before you go to that, I think you skipped a resolution.
I did?
Yep.
I sure did. Going backwards, everybody. My apologies. I write all these notes on my paper here. I'll go backwards. Hold on, Herb. So back to resolutions for consideration and possible action this evening. We have a resolution for consideration authorizing the township manager to sign and submit the Pennsylvania Department of Transportation Form M-950AA. Tony, would you like to report out on this one for us, please? My apologies
Sure.
for skipping.
The first resolution I get to present, and I was skipped. So.
Don't take it personally. My fault.
No problem. The reason for this resolution is that when a township owns a utility in a state right away, they're required to be the applicant. As part of our engineering review, we always review all the applications as well as the documents, and we recommend to Renee to sign. Recently, PennDOT has required another document to be added to accompany these applications, and what that is an authorization from the board to show that Renee, the township manager, would be allowed to sign these documents on behalf of the township. I guess they may have ran into an issue that they had multiple people from a township sign it. They chose to just get a resolution now. So this resolution will accompany that. So in the future, as these applications come in, we'll support them with this document, and Renee will be able to sign for the form.
Excellent. Thanks, Tony.
Thank
Jennifer,
you.
did you have anything to add to this one?
I do not, other than to clarify whether this is project specific, Tony, or if this is a general approval.
This resolution is actually a general approval. It's this form is used multiple times, 3 times in the said project, but almost every HOP that goes in, Township usually either owns a signal or storm sewer pipes or any utility in the ground. So this is something that will be used multiple times.
I have nothing else, Tori.
Thanks. It sounds to me like this is just a process for streamlining at this point, which
Correct.
makes sense. All right. Are there any questions or comments on this particular resolution from the board? Are there any questions or comments from the public? All right. See, Tony, you did such a good job. There's no questions. So that
Thank you.
being said, do I hear a motion to move forward with a resolution authorizing our township manager to sign and submit the the Pennsylvania Department of Transportation Forms M-950AA?
So moved.
We have a motion on the floor from Commissioner Kelly. Do I hear a second? I'll make a second from Commissioner Morgan. Can we have a roll call vote, please, Renee?
Commissioner Walk,
Aye.
Commissioner Mobilio,
Aye.
Commissioner Kelly,
Aye.
Commissioner Seton,
Aye.
Commissioner Morgan.
Aye, motion carries. Thanks, Tony.
Thank you.
All right. My apologies, everybody. I'm going to go back to where I was. We're down to our motions for consideration this evening. And the first motion for consideration, again, is the motion requesting permission to award a bid for the Whitehall and Huckleberry Water Station fencing project. Now, Herb, are you with us?
I am here.
Welcome.
Good evening, Commissioners. Public Works is seeking approval to have the fencing installed around the water station at Whitehall and Huckleberry. Public Works has solicited 3 quotes and is recommending awarding the project to Anchor Fence in the amount of $15,265. This project was budgeted for $35,000 in the capital account.
All right. Herb, I just have a question on the fencing. Is this in response to, some security requirements, or is that?
Yes, it is. We're required by DEP to put fencing around all the water stations, and it does have to be 7 feet high also. So that's why the fencing is a little expensive.
Gotcha. All right. Just wanted to put some perspective on it. Great, thank you. Are there any questions or comments from the board on this particular request this evening?
I just had a question. Is this the final water station to be fenced, or do we have more down the road?
No, we have more down the road also that have to be done.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions from the board? All right. Any questions from the public? All right. Hearing none, do I hear a motion then to move forward with permission to award the bid for the Whitehall and Huckleberry Water Station fencing project?
So moved.
We have a motion on the floor from Commissioner Kelly. Do I hear a second?
A second.
Second from Commissioner Walk. Can I have a roll call vote, please, Renee?
Commissioner Walk,
Aye.
Commissioner Mobilio,
Aye.
Commissioner Kelly,
Aye.
Commissioner Seton,
Aye.
and Commissioner Morgan.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, everybody. Thanks, Herb. All right, don't go anywhere. Next motion for consideration this evening is a motion requesting permission to place the equipment and vehicles on municibid. Herb.
Yes, Public Works is seeking approval to place some equipment and vehicles on municipal. This equipment has been replaced or is going to be replaced shortly. Currently, there are 11 items to go on municipal.
We have the items are being displayed. If there's any questions or did you want to run through the items? Is that of relevance or importance? I'll defer to the board if they're interested, since there's only 11.
Looking at the pictures, there is I guess, is that a minimum amount, the bottom number?
Yes, that's the lowest number.
The estimated amount you're expecting.
Correct. And a lot of times, Joe, some of them do go higher.
Okay.
Out of curiosity, what happens if we put something up for auction and it just doesn't go? Like nobody wants it. How do we get rid of it? What happens then? I'm just curious.
All good.
What we do, if it doesn't get bid on the first time, we can lower the amount and put it on again also. On the next time, we would put more equipment or vehicles on municipal bid.
They always go eventually.
Yes, everything we have put on so far since I've been here has sold already.
Okay, I was just curious. All right. Herb's still running through those. Were there any questions from the board?
Herb, when you say they've been replaced or planning to, for example, the two small little Ford cars that you just are showing on the screen, are those currently something that were being used and we're planning to replace them soon, or where are we with things like that?
The two Ford Focuses has the one, which is car 5, has the transmission noise and rusting issues, and it doesn't get driven a lot. So that is a reserve car. And the same thing with car 4, that has motor mount problems and engine noises, and that's a reserve car. I'm pretty sure car 5, because of the noises, only got drove like maybe 30 miles last year, and car 4, it was like 100 miles. But we still have 2 other cars that are reserves. So we're not going to replace these.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Any other questions for her?
Yeah, I just have a comment. I mean, if you look at each individual item, it looks like we're making the decision about, whether to place it or not and at this cost. I think the bigger picture is, and I want to give Herb some positive feedback. Basically, he's managing our cost. And the cost is this equipment and vehicles that's in the inventory. He's managing the life cycle. He's making decisions when the equipment should be retired and, if it needs to be replaced or not. So I just want to thank Herb for doing this for the township, doing an excellent job. We trust you to be able to be making the right decisions for us when you bring this information forward.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions or comments from the board? Any questions or comments from the public? And Herb, all this information is available on Municibid. Is there a link to that from our website, or is that something that you go to directly from a different link?
I think you have to go on Municipid's link to get to it.
Very good. All righty. If there's no other questions, then we do have a motion this evening for possible action requesting permission to place the said equipment we've reviewed and vehicles on Municipid. Do I hear said motion?
So moved.
The motion.
Motion on. Okay, we have a motion on the floor from Commissioner Kelly. I'm assuming a second from Commissioner Walk. Can I have a
Yes.
roll call vote, please?
Commissioner Walk,
Aye.
Commissioner Mobilio,
Aye.
Commissioner Kelly,
Aye.
Commissioner Seton,
Aye.
and Commissioner Morgan.
Aye, motion carries. Thank you, Herb.
No problem. Thank you.
You got it. All right, next this evening, we have a motion for consideration requesting permission to proceed with the purchase of a fire truck. This has long been in the works, lots of hard work and labor went into this one. I'm going to hand it over to our fire commissioner, Mr. Chris Kitcheravich, to report out on this one. Chris, the floor is yours.
Thank you, and good evening, commissioners. I'm coming to you for moving forward with the purchase of a new fire engine. We discussed it at the September 14th meeting of the Volunteer Fire Subcommittee. We're looking to replace a 1998 engine, a Seagraves engine from the Woodlawn Fire Station. The committee from Woodlawn has been working on this project pretty hard since January of 2019. Gone through a bunch of different revisions. We went through several different manufacturers on the apparatus. As we worked our way through it, we decided to go with the Spartan fire apparatus. We did also look at E1, Seagraves, Sutphen, and all of the apparatus are available on CoStars. After the research we did, we decided to go with Spartan for several factors. Picking that manufacturer because there's also a 2012 Spartan pumper tanker in service at the station already. So this will make some of the familiarization with the apparatus a lot easier, and also for the maintenance of it. I know our mechanics are familiar with maintenance and working on the Spartan fire apparatus. So we did sit down with the manufacturer Spartan. We picked out lots of different options and then sat down with Spartan and Tony from Spartan and went on a line by line pick and choose of what we needed and what we could save money on, trying to do our due diligence on using the taxpayers' money. Right now, going forward with the purchase of the Spartan fire apparatus, the apparatus cost we have finally gotten down to $627,837. That comes up with a discount turned in with that price, about putting half of the payment down at time of order, and then the other half will be at delivery. Delivery date, once we place the order, they're looking at the delivery date of no more than 400 days out. But we're not looking to receive this apparatus till next year, coming into the fall at best. Hopefully before Christmas. It'd be a nice Christmas present for us.
I could have got that.
All right.
Okay. So going with that, just a couple quick things about the apparatus. It is a Spartan Metro Star. It comes with a 2,000 gallon per minute fire pump on it. There is and actually we're bringing up a picture of it. So there's the picture of the fire apparatus on the schematic. Again, it's an engine. So it's going to carry a full complement of hose, ground ladders, and firefighting equipment. It has a 2,000 gallon per minute pump. It's going to have 500 gallons of water on board. powered by a 500 horsepower Cummins diesel, and it has seating for 6 firefighters. We also did a comparison on prices with the other manufacturers for you, and the E1s came in at $715,000. Seagraves was at $699,917. Sutphen's was at $628,500. We're looking at our final price from Spartan at the $627,837. I think that would be it. If you have any questions on that right now.
So I'll go ahead, Commissioner Walk.
I just have a comment and a question. So I support this. I know James Kish has worked long and hard on this for around 2 years, or maybe longer than 2 years. So James, I just wondered, do you have anything else you would like to add in addition to what Chris has told us here tonight?
I guess I could add some things in, like we were just discussing with all the vehicles on municipal. That's kind of where we are with our engine right now. The beginning of this process started with us identifying 3212 as the next fire apparatus in the township to be replaced because it was starting with maintenance headaches. We had it evaluated for refurb, which was going to cost upwards of $300,000 just to get 10 years out of it. This truck, we're hoping to get 20 plus years out of. So that's kind of where we started the process. We've just talked to almost every fire apparatus manufacturer out there to get what we want, what we need, and to be fiscally responsible about it. It's been a long process. We've learned a lot of things along the way. There's been some challenges with the bid processes. Different manufacturers do things different ways. But I have to say, our committee's done a great job. Everyone has a little bit of a say on this truck specifically. But I think this is definitely going to serve us, the township, and really surrounding municipalities for a long time. And I think it's definitely the best use of the taxpayers' money because we even within the past month, we basically, when we sat down with the manufacturer, Spartan, we went line by line and managed to take $15,000 basically off the price on things that we didn't really realize were even on there that don't really affect the operation of the truck and were perfectly fine substitutes. So this is definitely what will serve us well and serve the township well.
Okay, thank you. And I have one question. I know Steve's not here, so maybe it can't be answered tonight. You know, from the budget meetings last year, there was quite a bit of conversation about, you know, the cash flow. I mean, it's just explained here that, you know, there'd be a down payment followed by, you know, another payment at delivery. But I know there was this consideration for a pinch point in the cash flow when we had to make the down payment. So I was just wondering, are we relieved of that situation, or is that still an issue?
If I'm not, go ahead. You're going to talk, Renee?
The down payment and the final payment will be coming out of the fire apparatus plan, which has been a plan for fund. So obviously the down payment is easily covered, and then the remaining payment will be covered as well. So yes, this comes out of a specified fire apparatus plan.
Okay,
And
thank you.
Commissioner Walk, I just want to add that I know Fire Commissioner Kitcheravich has worked closely with the Woodlawn team and also Steve Carr and Renee on that cost and how to make sure that the money is best spent. So, Chris, did you want to add anything else to that?
Yeah, just that with the meetings with Steve Carr, he is very comfortable with the half down with what we have in the fund for that. He thinks that was our best financing option, and if I'm correct, we saved another $7,000 with that to bring it down to the final cost.
Good, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks. So, yeah, this was a long process. A lot of hard work went into it. Grateful for all the time and energy spent, and thank you too, Chris, for working with the team to help, kind of evaluate all the information that was coming in and provide that support. And James, to you and your team as well. Great job. So are there any other questions from the board on this particular request for a purchase?
Just have a practical question. What happens to the old fire truck that needs work? Does it stay and will it be utilized still by the fire company as an extra truck, or is that something that we would choose to sell something?
Yep. Pretty much what the current engine they have now, that's 3212, will stay in service till the new one shows up. Then once the new one shows up and we put this new fire apparatus in service, that one will be taken out of service. And then I would hope to put it up on something like Municipid and hopefully get something for it and put money back into the apparatus fund for the future, for the next purchase of an apparatus. I would say, as far as keeping it like as a reserve piece, I would not see value in that because it's going to be so much cost and upkeep for it.
Okay. And I know that we've referenced this apparatus fund, and I spoke with Renee briefly about this today. I know that there was some chart with the different fire apparatus that we have when they're aging out and needing to be replaced. And I would just like to ask if that's something that can be shared with the board so that we could have that information just moving forward.
Okay.
I thought we have it.
Had discussed, yes, that is part of every budget year that is distributed. So as we enter into the budget process again, yeah, he will update that reflective of this purchase, and then you will have the plan for all of the apparatus that the township owns.
Oh, great. Great. Thank you.
And any other questions or comments from the board? Any questions from the public? All right. That being said, we have a motion for consideration this evening for permission to purchase the fire truck for Woodlawn at the cost of $627,837. Do I hear said motion?
So moved.
Make a question.
All right, we have a motion on the floor from Commissioner Kelly. Assuming that's a second from Commissioner Walk. Can I have a roll call vote, please, Renee?
Commissioner Walk?
Aye.
Commissioner Mobilio?
Aye.
Commissioner Kelly?
Aye.
Commissioner Seton?
Aye.
Commissioner Morgan?
Aye, motion carries. All right, thank you everybody for your hard work. All right. Next this evening, we have a motion for consideration requesting permission to proceed with the Woodlawn Fire Department Truck Port Project. All right, Commissioner Kicharavich, would you like to report out on this one? This one was time sensitive, so maybe we should chat about that one a little bit.
Yes, it was, and my apologies for the quick time sensitive on it. I did end up bringing this up at the September 14th meeting of the volunteer subcommittee, recommending to go forward with the truck port project. We had spoken about this last year as far as moving forward with this. So it was put quickly into your agenda this evening because of the concrete work that's going to be getting done. Currently, we are seeking a project cost of $15,061. I had gotten an updated quote on some concrete work, and the updated quote came in a lot higher than the one that Woodlawn had already gotten. So we just double checked some quotes, and pretty much the excavation work is coming in at $1,100. The concrete delivery is at $2,461, and then the American Steel Company is putting up a vehicle port or a truck port. The whole plan with this truck port is to create a pad with a truck port on the backside of the Woodlawn Fire Station, so they have a place to basically protect and park inside of the carport the fire police apparatus and the Suburban that they also have out there, which are currently parked outside. So that'll get them in under some protection.
So, Chris, there were multiple quotes for these particular items?
There was. I did the concrete work, yes. The concrete work with the excavating stone came in. So if you would add those two together, which comes to what, like 3,561 on this quote. The latest one I got in from Bazilla was $8,735. So this one was considerably less. And the Woodlawn Fire Company is going to do a lot of the finish work themselves, so they're saving us a bit of money by doing some work with this project on their own. The American Steel, the structure itself, I know that they did a bunch of work for compared prices. I did a follow-up on compared prices. They're going with American Steel. I looked at Metal Carport Depot, which is $11,530. And I looked at Viking Metal Garages, and theirs were showing at $12,475. So the $11,500 is a decent price, right in line.
Excellent. Thank you. Thanks for checking on those. Much appreciated.
You're welcome.
All right. Are there any questions from the board on this particular request for purchase? All right. Any questions from the public? All right. That being said, do I hear a motion to move forward to proceed with the Woodlawn Fire Department truck port project?
So moved.
At a cost. Oh, we have a motion on the floor from Commissioner Kelly. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Make a second. Second from Commissioner Morgan. And can I have a roll call vote, please, Renee?
Commissioner Walk,
Aye.
Commissioner Mobilio,
Aye.
Commissioner Kelly,
Aye.
Commissioner Seton,
Aye.
and Commissioner Morgan.
Aye, motion carries. All right, thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
All right, you got it. Next this evening, under correspondence and information items, Chief Dorney, what do you got for us tonight?
Good evening, Commissioners. I have the 2020 crime statistics for the month of August. The South Whitehall Township Police Department handled 1,058 calls for service. 149 of those were self-initiated. Compared to last year, we had 1,140, so we're just about almost even with last year, even though we're still in the midst of a pandemic. But we're just 82 reports shy of last year, so the activity is starting to pick up a little bit. The self-initiated activity is 14%, and the most common report that we do respond to are EMS calls with 220. Going into the crime statistics, for the month of August, we had 100 reported crimes, down 20 from last year's 120. I'm certainly not upset about that. The number of arrests that we have this month of August was 60, which 11 of those were self-initiated, and that is down 8 from last year's 68, which the self-initiated percentage is 18.3%, and our arrest ratio is about 60%. So we arrest 60% of the time when we have a crime reported. Year-to-date stats, we are down 13.58%. Crime is down 29.37%, and our arrests are down 30.94%.
Awesome. So, Chief, I have a question that's not on your stats. How many good behavior tickets have we given out? How's that program working out?
That is still in the works because we had a lot of people that came in late when we expanded it beyond the Chamber of Commerce. So we're actually working on having the citations printed up. So as soon as we get those on hand, we will be handing those out, I'm sure, due to the great behavior of our community and our citizens. So, and I do want to thank and our residents for the ongoing support that we receive during the critical times that we're facing across the nation right now. regarding police reform and kind of the rhetoric that's out there. And I just want to thank our community for all the support that we get, and thank the members of the police department for their dedicated and exceptional service that they provide to our community. So.
Well said, Chief Dorney. A huge thank you to you and the entire team, and we're grateful for all you do each and every day.
Thank you.
Any questions for Chief Dorney from the board? Any questions from the public? All right. Tony, what do you got for us this evening from engineering?
Engineering, we have pretty long list here. We have 4 items on the PC. We keep on getting new submissions, expansions of existing facilities, construction's ongoing, and hopefully we're wrapping up a lot of that construction work and paving in the next month or so. As you can tell, it's getting a little bit colder outside, so hopefully a lot of the roads should be wrapping up, and we can have some better conditions out there for the winter.
Awesome. Any questions or comments for Tony from the board? All right. Any from the public? Thanks, Tony.
Thank you.
All right. George, we have a public notice, a planning commission meeting set for Thursday, September 17th at 7 p.m.
Thank you, commissioners. That would be tomorrow night. We have a pretty jam-packed agenda, believe it or not. That includes 1 sketch plan, 2 preliminary land development plans, and 1 rezoning request.
All right. Thanks, George. Any questions or comments for George on the upcoming September 17th meeting? All right. Next one, George, we have a public notice of the Planning Commission meeting Wednesday, September 30th at 7 p.m.
Yep, so this is another iteration of the Ridge Farm continuing discussion on waivers and deferrals. So I think this will probably be the last one with respect to that, but please join us on September 30th for that discussion if you're interested in that project.
Excellent. Thanks, George. You'll obviously have information posted on the website if anybody's interested to go there. Excellent.
Yep, and it's advertised in it's advertised in the papers, of course, as well.
Excellent. Thank you. All right. We have nothing under direction and discussion, but I would like to note, which Fire Commissioner Kitcheravich already did mention, on September 14th, Commissioner Stetton and I met with the Volunteer Fire Subcommittee, and the focus of that meeting was primarily to be prepared for the truck request for this evening, and we did talk about some other capital requests, but that was the focus of the meeting. I didn't really have much else to report out on that. Joe, unless you had some comments or thoughts?
No, I don't.
Okay, excellent. And I think that was it for direction and discussion. Unless there was anything else anyone had to add. If not, we can move right on to our old business.
Commissioner Morgan?
Yes.
Yes, I do have one item I'd like to bring up based on feedback that we have been receiving on an ongoing basis from the public, from our citizens. And it all surrounds transparent government. There's been feedback given at recent BOC meetings and also individually. So it stands to reason with the feedback that it would make sense to make some changes to provide more transparent government that the community is looking for. So accordingly, I'd like to make the following motion, and it reads as follows. As a standard practice, South Whitehall Township will proactively post specific openings on the South Whitehall Township website so that people can see the open positions and have the opportunity to apply for the positions. The open position posting will include the qualifications for the position, the selection criteria, and a detailed explanation about the application and interview process. So that's the motion. And just a couple more comments. I think if we were to agree and approve this motion, the standard practice would promote things that we all endorse. It would promote an open recruitment and selection process. It would promote equal and open opportunity for all of our citizens, and it would promote diversity. Thank you.
Well, I think that's interesting topic that you brought up. I actually was thinking the same way when I was reviewing the minutes from our last meeting and all of the public comment that we had. I think this is what the people are asking for, is obviously more open and transparent government, and having an opportunity to provide access for members of the community to be involved here in our local government. I think that's a great idea, that we would take whatever steps that we possibly could to provide access and opportunities to serve. And certainly on a practical level, it keeps these things in the forefront. If we are posting things on our website, it also has the added bonus of driving more traffic to the website, which keeps citizens engaged, keep our community engaged with the government. And that's always a good idea. So I think this, that makes common sense. I would second that motion.
So I'll open it up to Joe and Matt for comments prior to making mine, if you have any.
Well, my comments are, I believe that a lot of the positions that become available, they're already out there. People, they're out on the website. So it's already there. I'm not sure exactly what benefit will make another motion.
My quick comment is, I disagree that they're out there, because they're not.
Well, I don't want to, Matt, you want to say anything, or shall I speak before you? It's up to you. I just want to open it up.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the concept is fine. Well, first of all, South Whitehall Township website does have a scrolling feature right now that asks people to submit applications for open positions. And if you go into the individual board pages, it does identify where there are vacancies. So, I guess we could split hairs about whether all the information is in one single place, but I would agree with Joe that it appears that the information is out there, and also the means by which someone could apply is readily available on the front page of the website. But with that being said, this is, I don't know how many times in a row it's been, 3, 4, maybe more, where a motion is brought to the floor without any previous discussion, without any communication amongst board members. This is the first I've heard of this proposal, just like several proposals previously that were brought up during this period. So I, as a matter of personal policy and preference, I'm inclined to vote no on any motion that's raised during a meeting when we've had no opportunity for discussion other than, kind of randomly brought up. So while I agree that I think the concept is there, and I think that the motivations are good and well intended, I would vote no to any motion that's brought up without, any kind of notice or opportunity to discuss beforehand.
Thanks, Matt. So here's my comments on it. We did talk about this same subject matter, I believe, at the last meeting. And I think we all agreed that with the coming of our new website, we were going to certainly look at different ways and opportunities to make any postings more apparent, if that's the issue. But this term transparency, which keeps getting thrown around, I get a little frustrated at that because I think it's being misused. We certainly are being transparent. You know, the information is there. If somebody's interested, they can certainly get the information. We're not hiding information in any way, shape, or form. And my suggestion would be, you know, I absolutely agree with the concepts as well. I think the more information we provide, the better. But I think the best way to go about this, just like we talked about at the last meeting, is let's get the new website up and running, see how that disseminates the information. I will say that we also, all of those boards and commissions and the way to apply for those positions is in our newsletters that comes out to every single resident in the township. So there's lots of different avenues for people to get that information, but to make a motion without allowing staff to have the opportunity to figure out the best ways to disseminate or possibly change and not having our new website up and running is not practical at this time. It doesn't mean that I don't want to look at different ways to get information out there. It just means, similar to what Matt had said, I think we need to have discussion about it. I think we should sit down and talk with Renee and staff and find out the best ways to get the information readily available, which it is. But if you're suggesting, Commissioner Walk, that there's a lot of people who can't find it, all right, well, we'll figure out why they can't find it. Maybe the new website will fix that. But I would not be inclined to make a motion as extensive as the one that you mentioned without giving staff an opportunity and all of us an opportunity to figure out the best way to do things. And that's my opinion. And I do not believe it's a transparency issue at all.
May I make a few comments in response to what you've all said? With all respect, the people think it's a transparency issue. I don't believe we should take upon ourselves to judge whether the people's viewpoint is valid or not. The people are telling us regularly at these meetings that they don't feel the township has the transparency that they expect, and they would like us to make changes. So that's one comment. The other comment is I appreciate Commissioner Morgan's point, which she has made twice now at this meeting and probably the last one, that the new website is coming and it will be superior. I don't think this is a website issue. I think this has to do with the actions or inactions that we're taking as a board and probably as what staff is doing or not doing. I'm not saying that to be critical in any way of any one person. I'm just saying I think it's an issue around the people's actions and not an issue about the website. And we're not doing all the things that we could do. I didn't want to go here, but there are recent examples. The appointment that was made to the Planning Commission late last year, it wasn't done in accordance with the motion I made. All right, it was accomplished.
I have no idea. What are you talking about? What appointment?
I'm talking about the Planning Commission appointment that was accomplished late in 2019. All right.
What was that? Commissioner Walk. I don't know who you're talking about.
Okay. First, I want to say it really doesn't matter who it was. I'll tell you.
Apparently, it does.
And it's not a comment about the person. So Dave Wilson was appointed to replace Robert Policki. And all I'm saying is that I just described the motion that was like 2 sentences long, that describe a process, and it describes a process that the people would like to see. I'm speaking on behalf of the people. we are not doing what I said, and that they don't think they have the opportunity to understand what these open positions are going to be, like when Robert Balecki retired, and they don't have the opportunity to, submit their application for it. So that's all I'm saying. I'll end here. I just wanted to bring this forward on behalf of the people once again, because that's what they're telling us.
Can I just, Tori, President Morgan, if I could make a comment? I guess I'm confused as to, Mike has mentioned a few times, and Mike, I'm just really just asking. This is what the people are demanding. Since I've been a commissioner for the last 9 months, I've never received a single email or correspondence or phone call or anything from anyone asking any questions about appointments to any of these boards. So when you say you're talking on behalf of the people, you must be talking to different people, because I haven't received any of these sorts of requests. The only people I've heard ever even mention of these things are 2 or 3 people that frequently speak at these meetings. So I don't know what people you're speaking on behalf of, and I'm not saying this to try to be controversial anyway. I just haven't gotten wind of any type of issue in this regard. So I don't know what is precipitating this appeal on behalf of the people.
I'll tell you, the people's comments during specific motions and during courtesy of the floor.
Well, I mean, look, all I want to just add is, I don't know what specific comments Commissioner Walker's referring to, but this is, again, my concern is that this is now, we had a motion, I think it was last time, about putting something else on the website that Commissioner or Attorney Zader said was not a good idea. That was withdrawn. Then we had a motion about requiring Renee to do something else. These motions are popping up without any warning or notice to the other commissioners, so it's kind of difficult to wrap our minds, or my mind, around an issue that is allegedly being brought on behalf of the people, when the first time I even get wind that such a motion might be brought, or that such an idea is being presented. So I appreciate that everyone wants to try to pitch in and do everything they can to satisfy constituent concerns, but when you need 3 people to vote in favor of something, I think it would make sense to talk to one or more of those other people ahead of time to maybe talk about your plan and see if there's some kind of agreement or consensus as to what you're doing.
If I could just add here, Commissioner Walker, for 1 second, could I just add something to that, please? I think, you mentioned you've talked to people and you're representing the public, and I talk to a lot of people as well. And whenever anybody talks to me about how they can get involved, I always lead them to the website, fill out an application, pick any board or commission you might be interested in. And they do if they want to, and they don't if they don't want to. And I've never, ever had somebody say, I never knew I could do that. I never this, because I share it with them. And I tell them where they can get the information. Now, you're saying, and they've never said to me, oh, I can't find it, or it's not there. Anybody that I have ever directed, if they've asked me, where do I find out? They go right to it and they know where it's at. So I'm not so sure. You keep trying to say that we're not providing information. We're not being transparent. We're not doing this. We're not following the process. I can tell you the process has been followed for interviewing and appointing people to boards and commissions to the T. This issue you mentioned with Dave Wilson, that was the same process that's always followed. I have no idea what you're talking about. He was interviewed and chosen and recommended for that position and voted upon by the full board. So if somebody comes in front of the board and a recommendation is made and you don't want that person, then vote no. It doesn't mean that they weren't vetted or we didn't do the interview process. There is a process in place, and we follow that every single time. That has not changed. And what I really, really get frustrated with is to extend these processes to the point that it's just outright ridiculous. I mean, we go to great lengths to provide information out to the public on any type of information, just like boards and commissions. And if you go to any other municipality, we're probably doing 10 times what they're doing. But I'm not going to compare myself to other municipalities. I'm just telling you, we do follow the process. We are transparent, and we are going to work on our new website to provide even better information. And in addition to that, the information is showing up in a newsletter that comes out to each and every resident in this township. So I have to say, similar to what Commissioner Mobilio had mentioned, I am not comfortable with agreeing with a motion to the extent that you just made. First of all, without having some staff input and discussion on what other ways and things we can change before we go ahead and already change them. That would be my opinion.
Oh, okay, so just a quick comment. My motion doesn't address the vetting process in any way whatsoever. I didn't say anything about it, and I'm not making any comments about it.
You said the process wasn't followed, and vetting is part of the process. So you said the process wasn't followed. My motion, I'll read it again if you would like. No, oh, please don't.
My motion,
I got it.
My motion only talks about providing the information to the public that there is an opening. So, for example, let's say there's an opening on the Planning Commission in the future. All my motion said is that we would post, I suppose its staff would post the fact that there's a new opening on the Planning Commission so people can see it and know they have an opportunity to apply for it. And along with the posting, we would provide the qualifications that one must have to fill the position, what the selection criteria is going to be, and a detailed explanation about how to apply and what the interview process will be like. Very simple, very straightforward. I believe that's what the people are talking about and what they would like to see. That's what they think transparency is, but they don't think what I just read is happening right now. I'm done.
A resident, okay, thank you. A resident can put in an application anytime. There doesn't even have to be an open position. So if you have a friend or if you know somebody that's interested in volunteering and they can put in an application today or whatever, they can check off whatever, they can check everything off. And as positions come open, those resumes, every person is looked at that has a resume in or an application in for that position. So when the position comes open, it's almost, it doesn't, if somebody's interested, just put in your application. And as positions come open, we're going to reach out to you. We're going to give you a call, say, we're starting to fill positions. Would you be interested in an interview? That's what happens. So to say, oh, well, today there's a planning board commission position open. It just opened up today on September 16th. And then next week we have one open for zoning. Oh, everybody, there's one open on zoning. If somebody's interested, just put in an application. And when the positions come open, we will contact you for an interview. That's the way we do it. It couldn't be any smoother. If anybody on this call is interested in a board or commission, you simply have to go fill out the application, click off anything that you're interested in. And as those positions become available and we start the interview process, both Matt and I are on the interview committee. And the chair for that committee would also be involved. We would interview different applicants that are interested in that position, and then we would make a recommendation to the full board.
Thank you for that clarification.
I'd just like to add one comment. just to follow up, a comment was made, if you know someone who wants to apply. I think what Commissioner Wilk was suggesting is this is larger than the people we might know or run into. I mean, it's for the community at large to know of availabilities. Some people, frankly, don't even realize that just an average citizen can serve on a board. I certainly think that that's something that wouldn't cause any harm. For example, if there is an opening that it would be written specifically, there is a opening on X board. What harm would that do? That's my comment. And my second comment is there was a comment made about nothing was discussed in advance. We are discussing this now. This is the place we're supposed to discuss the people's business. So I appreciate you bringing this motion forward. We have had multiple motions brought in the past that weren't discussed with other board members, and they've been voted on. So this is something that's been done for as long as I've been a commissioner. So what Commissioner Wilk's doing tonight isn't anything different than what we've seen regarding meeting minutes or restriction on commissioner ordinances or other important things that were brought to the board that I wasn't aware of in advance. So those are just my comments.
Are there any other thoughts or comments on this? We do have a motion on the floor from Commissioner Walk. I believe, Commissioner Kelly, did you second it?
I did, Commissioner Morgan.
So if there's no other questions or comments from the board or questions or comments from the public, we would vote.
Commissioner Walk,
Aye.
Commissioner Mobilio,
No.
Commissioner Kelly,
Aye.
Commissioner Seton,
No.
Commissioner Morgan.
No. Motion doesn't carry. And again, I think we all agreed in the concept. I think we will be looking at a lot of ways to be able to promote additional information in addition to what we already do with our new website, which is exactly what we spoke about at the last meeting. So are there any other items under new business or not new business, but direction and discussion? All right. So Renee, I'll let you touch on the old business items. We have Where's Sam?
Yes, we still have not received any word from DEP on the status of the permit.
I think I'd imagine with COVID, we're going to be in a bit of a holding pattern for a little bit. The department's been behind on a lot of things.
Yeah, that's correct. I don't believe they're necessarily actively working on those permits. Unfortunately, Steve had something prepared for campus renovation project. I do know that he sent out an email to the board. And at this point, the project timeline remains consistent with, fingers crossed, an end of year, potential end of year completion to the end of January, between the end of December and end of January. And at this point, the project is trending at a little under 1% of the budgeted project at this point. Again, my apologies. Steve was anticipating being here, but unfortunately had an emergency. And the credit card status, he did tell me he's looking at October 31st of ironing some things out with the credit cards and being able to be live at the end of October. So fingers crossed that all works well with that. I can also just give you an update on the website. We have actively been working. We have seen some I don't want to say prototypes exactly yet. We're still actively working on the framing of our website. It looks good and we're really excited about it because we've taken the analytics from the old website in terms of popular pages, and we've been able to incorporate that into some of the button function on the new website. So as soon as we get a prototype that we are able to share that makes sense, we'll share that in advance of it being live. But again, good progress with that, and we are continuing in our training on the agenda software. So we're anticipating rolling that out in advance of the website. But it's about a 3-month training process. So we actually have additional training. We do it about weekly. So we are making good progress with those platforms at this point.
Thanks, Renee. Any questions or comments for Renee on those old business topics? All right, any from the public? All right, this is now the opportunity for courtesy of the floor, the opportunity for anybody in the audience to approach the board on a non-agenda item. And we do have 2 individuals that requested courtesy of the floor. First, we have Mr. Brian Height. Brian, are you with us?
Yes, Brian Height of 1273 Eck Road. As a follow-up to last meeting, this meeting, I would like to request that the no parking signs on Eck Road, as regulated by the Code of the Township of South Whitehall, Part 2, General Legislation, Article 4, General Parking Regulations, Section 336-33 be reinstalled. The amount of trucks parking on Eck Road between 10 o'clock at night and 8 a.m. is becoming a safety concern, as the road cannot accommodate this type of parking. I previously submitted a photo of the truck parking situation. Furthermore, this was part of the conditional use approval of the Eck Road Crackersport DC warehouse project, 2017-602, approved on May 16th of 2018, section 34B, which reads, applicants shall not permit any tractor trailers, trucks, and/or other commercial vehicles to park, idle, queue, warm up, cool down, or stack on any street for any purpose at any time, including without limitation while waiting to access the subject premises. So I would like to see those parking signs reinstalled, so if I do notify the police, they can actually enforce the regulations. And I don't know what the consequences of the property violating the conditional use approval is, if there are any penalties. So that's the first part. And I can go on if you would like me to.
Hey Brian, this is Randy. We did request Blue Rock to get those signs back up. We will send them a reminder. We'll call them personally tomorrow. If they're not up by Friday, Public Works will get them up. But we'll get on that as soon as possible for you.
It goes along with the second part, which is infrastructure, such as when are the road improvements and stormwater facilities going to be built? The construction activities are becoming a concern to myself and my neighbors. The buildings are up, all the walls are up, and by the end of next week, we'll be under about 1 million square feet of impervious coverage without the necessary infrastructure to accommodate that use. The road is being torn up. The shoulders are being used to accommodate turn movements to and from the site. This causes the shoulder grass areas to be torn up in dirt, and then when it is flooded by the developer's water truck, the mud runoff goes right directly into my property. The trucks are turning 4 to 6 feet off the cartway of the road. Potholes are getting bigger and bigger. There's also just a safety concern of the curve in the road. One of the approvals was to straighten the road at the curve near my residence at 1273 Eck Road. That has not been done. They are bringing in wide loads in excess of 10 feet wide to go around that corner, and then you have trucks parked right after that corner, and it becomes gridlock in the mornings. one morning I couldn't even leave for work because the trucks were just parked everywhere. And I did call Lehigh County Dispatch, and I don't know if the police were ever on scene. I was able to use my motorcycle to go to work, which was interesting. But so I don't understand how these wide load tractor trailers can be used in the southern portion of Eck Road at the curve. The developer was supposed to straighten this. My mailbox has been hit by a wide load. And for context, my mailbox is 4 to 6 feet off the cartway of the road. There's a pull-off area, and they still hit it. So I just want to know when the necessary infrastructure to support 1 million square feet of warehouse and distribution space is going to be built. It's also if they build the road after the buildings are all complete and the maintenance period begins, and the buildings remain vacant for 18 months, and then the trucks start using that road, and the road gets tore up, who pays for that? I believe after the maintenance period is up, it's on the township's dime. And I honestly believe, as a safety issue, that the infrastructure of the road network should have been built either before or simultaneously to the completion of the buildings. Thank you.
Thanks, Brian. Did you, Randy, Renee, or did you guys want to comment or just take under advisement and feedback to Brian once you gather some information? I'll defer to you.
Yeah, I think it'd be prudent for us to gather information as staff, and we'll continue to be in touch with Brian. We've been out there frequently. I know Mike Elias has handled a lot of some stormwater complaints, and we're trying to rectify some other issues with the sweeping of the streets that are going on down there. But in terms of the timeline for the road, I think it'd be prudent for staff to get together tomorrow and get back to Brian with some solid concrete answers.
So with that, Brian?
Yeah, that'll be fine. I also want to just mention that, I did complain about the flooding, but I also have $5,000 worth of damage that I've been, forced to pay for a neighbor's construction project. So I will complain when it affects me personally and the safe and health of my family. Thank you.
Understood, Brian. So Randy, you'll be in touch with you hopefully tomorrow, to talk and get some details and get you some answers.
Okay, thank you. And I would also like to say that Mike Elias had called me today. I had sent a video in of the street sweeping operation, how it makes it look like the Wild West. And all the staff has been very helpful. It's not the township's fault that this stuff is occurring. I just want to bring it to their attention. And Mike and Herb have been very helpful. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Randy, for following up on that one.
No problem.
All right. Excellent. So we did have another courtesy of the floor request tonight from Mr. David Burke. I think David was looking, so I'll defer to George for an update on the comp plan. Is that right, David?
Yes, thank you. I realize the comp plan probably fell victim to the pandemic and the inability to get the public together. I think those are the next steps. But I was just hoping George might give us just a brief review of where we were with it and any idea that you might have relative to steps for completion, how many there might be, and maybe even a timeline without really even understanding when, maybe the better word is duration of those steps, and some kind of anticipated completion time. In other words, if there's 8 or 10 more steps, maybe that takes 10 months or whatever. I hope I made that clear.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm happy to try and fill in the gaps here. So we did take a little bit of the hit on COVID because we're not able to kind of reach out to the community like we'd like to. That said, we are out of phase 2, which is where shall we grow? So if you'll recall, we kind of got through that process of where we want to see development occur within the township over the next 30 or 40 years. And we are moving into phase 3. Dave Manhart from our staff has been very busy trying to put together, and if you recall, phase 3 is the how shall we grow. So it is now that we know where, what is that development going to look like? So phase 3 is really going to only include what we call a visual preference survey. And Dave has been working on that pretty extensively. He's had some bugs in the survey that he's trying to put together. So he's still kind of trying to work through those, but he's getting really close. In fact, I think we actually talked about putting a time frame on it, and we hope to have that phase 3 survey out within a 4 to 6 week period. And what we want to do, and the way we're going to get the word out on that is we're actually working with a company that will make postcards for us that will go to every household in South Whitehall Township. So we're looking to get at least 1,000 respondents. That's the benchmark. So we're really hopeful to get that kind of response to it. I suspect, like I said, that'll go out within 4 to 6 weeks. We'll probably have that out there for another 4 to 6 weeks, or probably 4 to 8 weeks. We might have a 2-month deal where we have that out there for people to respond. And that will really wrap up phase 3 once we get those responses back. And then phase 4, which is really the final phase, that's when we intend to put the stakeholder groups together and start to write the plan. So I think we're getting there. We haven't stopped as a result of COVID, but it's a little bit, we're trying to rethink how we can hit the most people with the information we want to try and get fed back to us under the conditions that we're in. So stay tuned and keep watching our blog, swtcomplan.org. And we should have something to you real soon, Dave. I think we'll have that survey done, I'm going to say within the next couple of weeks, and then we'll start to launch that. And of course, we'll present it to the BOC for their input and so forth. But I think we're getting pretty close. So, and I would say timeline in general for all 4 phases, we're hoping to wrap this up by the spring of next year. So that's the goal anyway at this point.
Okay. From what you described, it sounded like phase 3 involves about 3 months of, well, I'm sorry, maybe 2 or 3 months of work that doesn't involve public meetings and so forth, correct?
Absolutely. I think we're going to, so what we'll do is I think we'll try and do like a virtual town hall meeting to announce the survey. And then what we'll do is get those postcards printed and then sent out to everybody. And then we'll have a time frame in which to respond to that survey. And like I said, our goal is to try and get at least 1,000 households to respond out of it. And that's a pretty aggressive goal because I think we have about 14,000 households in the township, but so if we can get a response like that, we'd be pretty pleased. But that's certainly the goal, and we'll see how it goes.
Right. And from what you described, phase 4 then does involve like public meetings or people getting together?
Yeah, absolutely. So the way we're envisioning phase 4 is we'll invite the public in somehow. I hope it's in person by that point.
I do. Okay.
Yeah, to say, what are you interested in? Are you interested in the transportation element? Are you interested in the environmental element? Whatever your interests are, and maybe you're interested in more than one, and we want you to participate on those subgroups. There'll be a subject matter expert that leads all those subgroups, but what they'll have is that information from the first 3 phases then to look at what's in the existing comp plan to say, okay, this works or this doesn't work based on what we're seeing now. And we'll give those subgroups the opportunity then to vet, what the new approach is, and then work through those elements accordingly.
Right. And we still plan on having the economic consultant involved in this process?
Yeah, absolutely. Both our economic consultant, in fact, we've already inked a contract with them to do a fiscal impact analysis township wide, and we're also keeping our transportation consultant on board.
Okay, very good. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for the question.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dave. Thanks, George. All right, looks like we have a question from Mr. Robert Hodges. Hi, Rob Hodges, 1707 Penn's Crossing. In terms of the discussion with the posting of jobs or vacancies on the website, I was looking through the website while the discussion was going on, and the only suggestion that I would make is that you can see, for example, for Parks and Recreation, you can see who's serving right now, but it doesn't show when any of their terms are up, when they would be up for reappointment. So someone who's interested in possibly serving on that committee wouldn't really have any idea when they possibly could be asked to serve. So perhaps just at least the terms for each of those positions could be added so that people could know what's coming up rather than only what's vacant right now. Thank you very much. You got it, Rob. Good thought. Certainly something we can look at, as we build into the new website. I think that's a good point. Thank you. Anybody else for courtesy of the floor this evening?
Yes, Commissioner Morgan, Lee Solt, 3731 Manchester Road. How are you?
Good. Hey, Lee.
Just a quick question. When do you think in-person meetings will happen again?
Not soon enough. We're as anxious as you are to get back to in-person meetings. Our dilemma is, and I'll let Renee speak to this as well. It's kind of touch and go. As you know, the township building is under construction, so we relied on the school district to host our in-person meetings. The school district has their hands full just maintaining the school for the students. So when we just, I think we're moving forward again, but we took a little backward turn with COVID there for a while where we went back in the phases a little bit. But, now as we move forward, we're hopeful that, possibly we may be able to work something out. I don't know, Renee, if it'll still be with the school or if we can find an alternate site eventually to try and do something in person. But we don't have, Lee, I don't have a solid answer for you yet. I can't give you a timeline because it's so fluid with what's happening out there. But Renee, did you have something you want to add to that?
Yeah, obviously our goal is to get back to in-person. Part of that too is limiting the number of people who then could be in attendance indoors, and some of the technical challenges with both the go-to meeting and the live platform, and some of the challenges we've had with trying both. So we're continuing to work on some of those solutions, and again, stay tuned. We'll see what the future brings with that, because obviously our number one goal is always the health and safety of residents, and quite honestly the staff at that point too. So
no, I get that. Thank you very much. I just didn't know if anything had, if there was a plan. I mean, I know there's not. I mean, I know everything's changing rapidly, so I just didn't know. Just get an idea. But thank you very much.
It's a good question, Lee, for sure. I mean, we get asked it often, and trust me, and we're always hesitant to say, oh yeah, in 2 weeks we're going to go live again, and then something changes tomorrow, and then you have to go backwards on everything. So, like I said, it's a very fluid situation, but we will certainly, as we start to get more solid information, we will pass that out to the public as soon as we get it. Absolutely. But thanks for asking. You certainly keep asking that question, because I can't wait for the day to tell you, well, it's going to be next week. So we're as anxious to get back in person as you are.
Thank you very much.
You got it. Anybody else for courtesy of the floor tonight? All right. I would like to note that our invoices and purchasing requisitions have been reviewed by our Township Manager and our Director of Finance. We do need a motion this evening to authorize that our checks be issued to pay our bills as tabulated. Do I hear said motion?
So moved.
We have a motion on the floor from Commissioner Kelly. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second.
I
Mobilio.
think that was Commissioner Mobilio
Mobilio.
or Seton? Mobilio.
Mobilio.
Commissioner Mobilio. And can I please have a roll call vote? Renee?
Commissioner Walk,
Aye.
Commissioner Mobilio,
Aye.
Commissioner Kelly,
Aye.
Commissioner Seton,
Aye.
and Commissioner Morgan.
Aye. Motion carries. We have no executive session planned this evening. I do need a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Motion on the floor from Commissioner Kelly. Do I hear a second? Oh God, please, somebody make a second.
But
Second.
I'll take the second.
All right, second from Commissioner Mobilio. All in favor? Aye.
Aye. Have a good night, everyone.
Have a lovely evening, everyone. Stay safe and well.
Good night.